Welcome to the Forever and Ever podcast. I'm your host, Omar Hargrove, and today we're going to be talking about meeting your spouse's needs when yours aren't being met. And I want you to ask yourself this. This is a really big part of marriage. How do you do that? How do you meet your spouse's needs when you feel like your own are being ignored or completely unmet? And this is the kind of thing that can slowly build a bitterness in even the healthiest relationships. You're tired, you feel unseen, and maybe you've asked for what you need multiple times and you still feel like nothing's changed. And now it's starting to feel unfair or even one-sided. And the thought of giving more when you feel totally empty, it just doesn't feel possible. But in this episode, it isn't here to shame you or to make you feel like you're not validated or justified. In fact, I want you to feel validated in that struggle. I also want to give you tools and encouragement for how to love well even when you feel like your tank is low. Because real love isn't about perfection. It's about perseverance. It's about grace and choosing to build something lasting even on the days that it's hard. So let's talk about how to do that together. Now, I want to preface this episode, and I feel like it should be clear with all episodes that we're talking about some like really common marital issues. Okay, this is not, we're not talking about abuse, verbal or physical abuse. That we're not talking about being a doormat. We're not talking about being a punching bag. We're talking about like your general run-of-the-mill issues within marriage. So I want to make sure that we're not taking this out of context or applying it in a way that I'm not trying to intend. Okay? If there's any kind of abuse, let's just know that this isn't necessarily what I'm saying. Y'all feel that, right? Okay, so now going into the silent trade-off in marriage. There's this quiet, invisible thing that starts happening in marriage, especially when life gets busy or stressful, and we start keeping score. Not out loud, not always consciously, but it's there. This little scoreboard in our heart. I've cooked dinner 3 nights in a row, and they still haven't helped with the kids. I always ask how they're doing, but when was the last time that they asked me? I'm emotionally supporting them, but who's supporting me? You see how we can easily start making these little tally marks on the scoreboard where I do this for them, but they don't do this for me. And slowly a trade-off begins to where you start to pull back. You stop trying as hard. You think, well, if they're not going to meet my needs, why should I go out of my way to meet theirs? And it makes sense. It's human. It's this contract mentality. But the problem is when both partners start giving less, the relationship is now starving. Okay? Consider what will that lead to? If it feels stressful for you right now and you feel like you're the only one trying, and instead of us having conversations about it, we end up just pulling back silently and grudgingly, a little bitter. How will that lead into the marriage? Is it going to just affect them, or is it going to affect both of you? Let's really think it out. Really paint the picture. Then what? What is going to happen now? And I want us to unpack this idea of why it feels so personal. When your needs go unmet, it doesn't just hurt. It feels so deeply personal, and especially when it's over time. Because it doesn't just feel like, oh, we've skipped date night because we're busy. All of a sudden it turns into we skip date night because they don't like me anymore. They don't love me anymore. And it starts to feel personal. But because in marriage, your deepest needs are tied to vulnerability. The need to be known, the need to be seen, the need to feel supported, the need to feel desired, the need to be loved. So when those things are overlooked, it's not just like inconveniences. This is like deep to our core. And it doesn't just feel like a task that when undone, it feels like you are being ignored. Your heart, your needs are being ignored. And that's where that bitterness grows. And resentment whispers this idea that you give so much and they don't even notice. The truth is, most of the time, your spouse isn't trying to hurt you. They may be distracted. They may be overwhelmed. They may just simply be unaware. While you're stewing, they may simply be thinking to themselves like, wow, they're so generous. I can't believe they do this all the time. They might truly feel grateful, but don't recognize this idea of repaying it back, or even vocalizing this gratitude, which brings us to a key turning point. Will you become bitter, or will you become clear? Because clarity opens the door for change. And that's where we need to talk about meeting their needs without losing yourself. This is the heart of the episode. Can you meet your spouse's needs without abandoning your own? Yes, but it requires boundaries, wisdom, God's grace, and here's a couple truths to hold on to. Serving doesn't mean staying silent. Okay, you can love generously and communicate your own needs clearly. Loving well doesn't mean stuffing everything down. It means being mature enough to say, I want to do this for you, but I also need to feel this from you. I also need to feel loved. I also need to receive something too. I like doing this, but I have needs too. It also means leading in love. Leading in love isn't weakness; it's strength. It's easy to mirror our spouse's energy. And if they withdraw, you withdraw. If they stop trying, then you stop trying. But someone has to go first. Someone has to break this cycle. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. You're looking in, and it's not as much as it's sacrificial, but it benefits you too. One could say it's selfish to even care about your marriage, because it is also self-benefiting. It is sacrificial while also selfish to simply not wait for the other person to do something first, whether it's to say sorry first, or whether it's to speak about something that's been under the table. Now let's talk about to focus on what you can control. You can't force your spouse to meet your needs, but you can control how you show up. You can choose kindness. You can choose prayer. You can choose clarity over sarcasm. And most of all, you can choose not to let unmet needs turn into unchecked resentment. Again, we're talking about voicing. We need to communicate clearly, but we're also talking about, we're looking at what we can control, okay? Now, I want us to talk about some practical ways to love even when it feels one-sided. These are 5 quick ways to meet your spouse's needs even when you still feel empty, without ignoring your own heart. Start with small acts of kindness. You don't have to overextend yourself to be thoughtful. A kind word, a warm hug, a short text. Even imagine texting your spouse saying, I believe in you. You know, these aren't grand gestures, but there's these steady acts that are showing this kindness. Number 2 is create moments of connection without expectation. Sometimes we only give affection when we think we'll get it back. But unconditional love means that we create connection without that scorecard. And can you sit near them on the couch, or offer them a coffee, smile at them in the kitchen? These moments are like bricks that rebuild trust. And we're still doing our part. We're still working at building our marriage. And at the end of the day, you know, like to just give up completely, tear down the wall, years go by, and you're just resentful that nothing has been built all this time. When at the end of the day, we can still be laying down these bricks. Now, number 3 is clarify your needs calmly and clearly. Don't wait until you explode. Instead, say things, you talk, try to practice learning how to articulate your emotions. Hey, I love caring for you, but I've been feeling unseen lately. And can we talk about how to better support each other? I want to talk about it, and being able to just simply communicate that sometimes opens this door. And just know that you may have to have that conversation more than once. Okay, it's normal. It's not that, oh, they just suck because we already talked about it one time 3 months ago and they still haven't changed. Think about how that sounds out loud. Like, just let it be a continual conversation. Okay, let it be a continual thing. And be clear. If you feel like they haven't changed in trying to meet your needs too, voice it. Say, hey, we talked about this 2 weeks ago, and I still care about trying to meet your needs. I still care about being there for you, but I don't know if I necessarily feel like you've made much adjustments to doing it back to me. Can we talk about this again? And that way you're also keeping each other accountable for this mutual love that y'all are sharing for one another. Number 4, ask God to refill what your spouse can't. Sometimes the love that you need won't come from them right away. It takes time for them to learn how to love you in this way. Now, I don't want to say love you again. It's not, again, when I say love, it doesn't mean there's no love, but sometimes it's learning how to express that love in a new way. Learning how to express that love where, not that it feels dormant, but it's gotten, what's the right word? It's gotten shy, if you will. And in those moments, you're going to need to be spiritually filled, relying on God, praying for your spouse so that you don't become emotionally bankrupt, but go to the well that never runs dry. Really allow God to intervene with prayer. And I'm telling you, praying for your spouse, especially when you feel these ways, is a really powerful thing to do spiritually and emotionally. And number 5, set healthy limits if you're truly being depleted. So if you're loving sacrificially and you're not, it doesn't, let me rephrase. Loving sacrificially doesn't mean tolerating neglect or disrespect long term. Okay, there's a difference between grace and enabling, and part of loving well is protecting your own heart too. And so again, this is like where I was saying at the beginning that we're not called to be punching bags or doormats. Allow yourself to have mental health too, but the biggest thing is that we're not holding ourselves against our spouse because they have forgotten how to express their emotions or express love or to care for us in the way that we want to be cared for. Long-term hope is not a quick fix. This episode isn't about magic, making magic fix and having a 2-week turnover. Okay, it's nice when that does happen. I'm not saying it can't, but if you're really feeling drained, discouraged, or unseen in your marriage right now, you need to know that loving your spouse in a dry season is also kingdom work. It's not necessarily easy. It doesn't always feel fair, but it is fruitful. And God honors your faithfulness, and every seed of love that you plant, every selfless act, every calm conversation, every prayer whispered behind closed doors is shaping the foundation of your future together. And so let it be meaningful spiritually as you are seeing beyond 2 weeks, as you're seeing beyond even 3 months. And you're looking at this idea of sowing love in your marriage when it's dry, of how it will bear fruit. So the challenge for this week is, instead of waiting to be filled, try pouring one small thing back into your marriage. Whether it's kind word, thoughtful text, calm, clear conversation. Don't forget to check in with God. Ask God, what do you want me to do with this situation? How can I love well without losing myself in the process? And if you need support, you should really consider joining our Facebook group where we're walking on this road. And especially with the marriage workshop that we have coming up this October, you're able to be a part in every session that we have. It's going to be a 4-week workshop where we cover the book forever and ever. And at the end of each one, we're going to do Q&A to where we can have these real and raw conversations, get into some details, and you'll find that you are not alone in this. So all that being said, thank you for listening today. Thank you for being a part. I hope that you feel seen right now. I hope that in this episode, I'm praying for strength for you. And if you feel stuck, I really believe that there is a way forward. So until next time, let's have a great life.